fusion of health, wealth, and wisdom that will ignite your passion for life. I'm Aldwin Alternate, also known as the Media Queen from Australia.
And I'm Kerstin Linnert from Germany. We are here to take you on a journey of inspiration to help you grow in life and business and unlock your true potential.
With a combined 70 years of media experience, we share stories, insights, and expert advice that will empower you in all areas of your life.
The Media Mavens Show is not just another show. It's a candid look for answers to the big questions in life and a movement towards a better, brighter future.
This show transcends borders. We're connecting people and cultures globally.
So whether you're watching us online or listening to our podcast, buckle up to be inspired, informed, and ready to conquer the world. Welcome. Here we are to episode number 13 of the Media Mavens Show. Welcome from wherever you're watching and tuning in and listening all over the world. We're so happy to have you with us again. And we're super happy to have a very special guest with us today. I've known this powerhouse, I think it's like 20 years or something. She is not only a German TV presenter, an actress, a speaker, an author, but she's definitely one of the fittest, strongest, and most resilient women I've ever met. And today's topic of the show is the joy of resilience. Meet Annabelle Mandeng. Annabelle, glad to have you with us.
Hi, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And like I said, I mean, I've been around you for many, many years, and you are definitely a powerhouse. What you see is what you get in your case. And before we get into your really incredible story, which you recently wrote a book about that we'll tune into later, and you started your own podcast that we'll tune into later. But before we get there, and before we learn about how you became so resilient, surviving accidents, you had a near-death experience, you almost lost an arm in another accident. I mean, it's like a horror movie, literally hearing about all those things, and you came out stronger and radiant as you are. Before we get into all of that, take us back a little bit, and for those people who do not know you yet, maybe our international audience, take us back to the beginnings of your career, which is literally, I calculated, 29 years ago as a Wetterfee. Tell us a little bit about that.
30 years ago, yeah, it's actually 30 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Annabelle Mandeng, and I live in Berlin in Germany. My father's from Cameroon, and my mom is German, so I'm half African. I'm a light-skinned woman, being 5'11" and a half tall, and an athlete, and and an actress with passion, an artist with passion, actually, because I also am a presenter, as Kerstin pointed out, but also a painter and a podcaster and a voiceover actress. So for me, it's actually started young when I was in high school. My mom was an expert abroad. She lived with us, with my brother and myself. My parents divorced when I was very young in Togo, in West Africa. And for 2 years, so I speak French. I was 9 when we moved. We left when I was 11. And then we went to Pakistan also when I was 15. And I stayed till I was 18. That's why I went to an international American high school there, graduated there. That's why I speak English the way I do. So at that school, I had a teacher who was, there's a movie called The Club of the Dead Poets. And he was like that. So instead of reading out Shakespeare, he was standing in front of the class and jumping around and making us actually feel the pieces of William Shakespeare, which was a great experience for me at the age of 15, 16. And that kind of passion kind of jumped over to me. So being experimental about being on stage and how to perform, and also how to transport content in general, like how to appeal to an audience, is something that was a topic for me very early. And yeah, I followed that path. And so when in Germany, the private channels came up, I mean, I was born in 1971, so I'm 53. So when I started with like stage and everything, it was the 1990s. So that's a while back. And in Germany, there were only 3 channels at the time. But then the private TV channels came up, and they were looking for hosts. And no one had a clue how to do that. But as I was modeling at the time, they were looking for, pretty faces kind of. So I was invited to these castings. And at the castings, I realized that I don't have any talent concerning being a presenter. But I learned through the castings. And because, they kept on inviting me. And then there was one channel who was like a new channel, because it started actually as a radio channel, and then it became a TV channel. So all the people there didn't have any experience concerning television. So they took me in, and I started as someone who did like quizzes, and I also a little bit of weather girl, and so that was in 1995. And then one of the big private channels, RTL, kind of, I went to them and I said, look, I want to proceed with that. And I remember the boss from RTL Nord, where I became then the weather girl, the first Black weather girl in Germany. I was the first Black presenter, German presenter in German television at the time. And I entered his office and he said, you don't know anything, but I believe in your talent. Do something with it. And he kicked me out of his office. I'm like, okay. So that's how I started. So I was like, actually, a reporter on the street. I was like doing whatever, like brewing coffee for the team. So I'm a self-taught person. And and then they put me in front of the camera because they realized maybe there is some talent. And so that's how I started. That's how I started. And parallelly to that, at the high school that I went to in Pakistan, I was also on the theater stage. So at the age of 18, 19, I was discovered for an audition on the streets of Oldenburg in Germany. And I played in a theater piece called Mephisto for a whole season. So it was kind of, I was 18, 19 at the time. So starting with as a presenter, I was 23, but starting with theater, I was actually 18, 19.
So I want to get into that, because the topic of the show is the joy of resilience, which is the topic that you now also do keynotes about on events and so on and so forth. We're going to get into that because I have a suspicion, it's very often the case, that people who don't have the smooth start, right, and the easy upbringing and the pampered childhood, they become the strong ones. And I want to know later on, we're going to take a bookmark here, if that made you maybe a little bit more brave, because you got to be brave, right? You got to be freaking brave to be a young girl and jump into a job that you have no clue about. You just dare to do it, right? You're the first Black girl in German television. You did some brave decisions here. And in a bit, I want to know if that has to do with the way you were brought up and what you had to endure. But before we get there, and this is something that we all have in common as women in the media business who have been there for 25, 30, 35 years, in a business where normally women beyond their 40s are forced to retire, right? There is ageism, there's sexism, there's racism, there's all kinds of isms in the media all over the world. We share that, Altwood and I, we had lengthy conversations about that, also with other actresses, hosts from other countries. What would you say is your secret that you're still around after 30 years?
Well, I'm a hard worker, first of all. I'm very disciplined. I believe in that you have to give 150% if you want to reach 100%. And so I have a high respect towards people that made it. I have a high respect about teamwork. So I believe that we can empower each other. And I think I was very early with that, that attitude on the market. Now it's common sense to be empowering towards others, but it wasn't at the time. But I think by approaching it like I approach sports, because as an athlete, you can't function without other people. It gave me the opportunity to have a different view on things. And you can only change things and become better if you train for them. It's logical. You can only become better if you've reached the limit, if you ask professionals that are better than you. That's logical as well. So, I have a different approach, I think, in general, because I never visited a university or a college or anything else. I learned by doing it. I learned by learning from other people. And that made me, I think, different in a way, but also more resilient in a way, automatically.
Yes. And that's also something, actually, now listening to you, that we all three share in common, the professional sports background, right? And I think that when you look at successful people who are very public, people who are enduring and persevere with their career, and they build like careers over decades, most of them have some sports background, because that's when you get your shit together, right? You keep going, you do another rep, and you just stick into it. You don't give up when things get uncomfortable. When the sweat is running, then you know things are changing, right? Alwyn, would you agree? Alwyn, tell us about your sports career, Alwyn, for a moment. And she's been
Sure.
around forever as well.
Yes, well, I represented Australia in table tennis back in the day from the age of 13 to 19. So I had a lot of discipline back then, as well as being incredibly rebellious against my family and against the education system. So I kind of went through this really interesting roller coaster period there. However, it did teach me discipline, and it did teach me to take my aggression out on the sport and not on other people, which was really healthy as well. And it's interesting how many entrepreneurs have had a elite sporting background. It's quite extraordinary. And I'm curious, Annabelle, with your show, in your lifestyle TV show, Fit for Fun TV, in the late 1990s, what did that involve? And I'm curious what your current fitness regime looks like.
Fit for Fun TV was great for me, because they approached me due to the fact that as a weather girl, I was already including sports. So I was actually, whatever. I was like kayaking while reporting about the weather. I was like horseback riding while reporting about the weather. I was also, trying to do whatever sports I had the access to, and they saw that, and so they invited me. So and then during Fit for Fun TV, I did basically every kind of sports. I did scuba diving, I did high diving, I did. I don't even recall. I mean, everything, skiing, everything. So that was perfect for me. I had a lot of fun. They could rely on me, and so that was how it happened. And today, I've never stopped training. I also have a box sack hanging in my apartment, and I've been training all my life due to my accidents and everything that we'll talk about later. Also. But I also love it. I love to move, and I do running. I do yoga, like Kerstin, of course. Not as good as Kerstin, but I've been doing it for 25 years. And I'm also a boxer, and I lift weights. I go to the gym, but I also do all kinds of fun sports I love, like mountain climbing and skiing. Downhill skiing I do every year. I'm a very good downhill skier. I'm probably the best black downhill skier there is in Austria if I go there, and. Yeah, so I just do whatever it's fun, and I have some restrictions that we talk about later physically due to my accidents, but otherwise, I think the joy that I have through feeling better by being agile is something that helps me sticking to it. It's for me, it's not an option not to do sports. It's like I brush my teeth, I eat, I sleep, I do hygiene. And I move. It's like it's part of the whole life circle that I live in, and I would never give that up. So for me, it's a natural thing, and I continue. I train. If I train hard. My physique hasn't changed over the past 40 years, but I constantly change my way of training also. So now at the age of 53, I actually train less many times. I only train like 3 to 4 times a week. But if I lift weights, for instance, I have the double weight. I lift weights now with 8 to 12 kilos for, like biceps. I used to have 3 to 4 when I was in my 30s, 40s. So that kind of thing changed. And that's just, and it's actually also good for us women if we do lift weights, if we control our muscles and our strengths, because it does something to our whole body systems. And so for me, training was, I started when I was a little kid. When I was 3 years old, I started with sports, and now 50 years later, I'm still doing it.
That's great. And it's not only, I mean, we've touched in this show, we used to interview a menopause expert, and she was emphasizing on the importance of, for example, lifting weight for women approaching menopause, going through the menopause. You need to change the art of the way of workout, but lifting weights, because muscles have a different effect on your body than fat or being skinny fat, right? So it's a very good thing to help women through the menopause when they're in their 40s and 50s. It is great that you're so aware. I can tell that you're very aware of your physique, of the way you train. You've been doing this all of your life. And nowadays, it's actually a proven fact that having a physical routine, whatever it is, it can be yoga, it can be lifting weights, it can be golf, it can be fishing, whatever it is, if you consciously, deliberately move your body, it has a direct effect on your mental health as well.
Absolutely.
Would you say, having been so active all of your life, starting at the age of 3, has helped you through, I mean, you've gone through some, not only accidents, but literally traumatizing events where many other people would have handled it or reacted it in a way of either giving up or turning into addictions, for sure not creating a career and having this fulfilled life like you do. Would you say your physical regimen has something to do with that?
I think it does, yeah, because I think it's about what, I think if you're in a situation that is traumatic, I think you should, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just talking about my own experience. So, but I think personally that if you're in a situation that is traumatic, you should pick the thing that you can control. And the thing that you can control mostly is probably your physical condition. It's something that you can do something about at the moment. If you do that, if you go out jogging or running or even just going for a walk and you have the sunshine in your face and you see green leaves, it does something to your physique. It's also scientifically proven against depression, and everything. So if you pick on something that you can control, you start with that, it's going to give you strength to continue with also concerning your mental situation. And that's what I always did. I always had to, also because of my physical conditions, but I also realized all the time that it does something to me mentally. That was very good for me. And so right now, for instance, I've been detoxing for 8 days. I just drink green juices and tea and water. And because I thought, a reset is good. It's the summer now, and I want to, I had a lot of wine and a lot of pasta and stuff in the past months and weeks. So I said, okay, it's time for a detox. So that's something I can control. And I can feel already after a week how good it feels, my skin and everything. And it's like, and sleep and digestion. And so I think most people have the problem that they look at their problems as a huge mountain that they need to climb. But I think if you go baby step after baby step by, as I said, picking on something you can control for the moment, it will give you strength to continue with whatever you want to continue. And going over the physique, most people think it's shallow, but I don't think so. I think it's a good way to take yourself seriously also, because it's the house that your soul lives in. Your body is the house that your soul lives in. If you take care of that, I mean, you're also vacuuming your apartment. Why shouldn't you take care of your body? It's the same approach. And if you do that, then I think, you will feel more relaxed, you will feel stronger, and then you can approach also other situations better.
Yes, absolutely. And it is scientifically proven that somebody who has control over their body by some type of sports, a routine that they do on a regular basis, it gives you control over your body. And this is not about being obsessed with your weight or being vain and wanting to look good. It's about feeling good. I have control. I stick with my routine. I keep the promise to myself that I've made, right? That in terms rubs off on situations. And this is scientifically proven. This is what I give my clients all the time. Once they're in control of their body, they start to be or feel much more in control, and thus be more in control of stress at their job, of stress in their relationships, of having to juggle family and kids and household and business and so on and so forth. This is a fact. This is not just, some esoteric wishy-washy. And that's why, and as you said, our physical body is the first vehicle. It's the most obvious vehicle, and it's actually the easiest to change. If you change your diet and the way you move, after 21 days, you will feel a change. You will see a change. You will have different hormones in your blood. This is all science, right? And it's easy. It's not, it's simple.
And
it's not easy for everyone, right? It's simple. It's not easy. And that's why, just get help or listen to people like Annabelle, get a coach and get support. So take us through we've talked about your physical regimen, but I want to know, and this is what I mentioned in the beginning, do you have like a deliberate mental routine? Is there something like meditation, or when you get into a stressful situation nowadays? And also, can you consciously remember the moment when you became aware that you have resilience, that something like resilience exists? Did it just happen in some accident, or did you consciously train to get there? How was that?
Both. To answer your question, one of the others, I don't have a certain routine. I don't meditate. It's due to my temperament. I tried. It's not for me. But what I do is I do yoga, and I have a studio nearby, and I do yoga. I do 60, 75, 90-minute sessions, and that calms me down. Otherwise, I go running. That is, for me, is the good thing. Music in my ears, and I run. I like to run, especially where it's green, so I can hear that the air smells differently. It's better for the eye. So I have the pleasure that I live next to a park, so I can go running there. That's what I do. If I need to really tune down, I turn off my phone. I read books, because for me, if I dig into a story that is really thrilling, then I can forget everything else, because otherwise my brain is always working. So that's, for me, that's the way to really calm down. What was your second question? Oh, yeah. And then the accident that happened to me at the age of 5 was actually the one that triggered my resilience consciously, because I was run over by a car when I was 6. When I was 6. So when I was 5, I fell from a 5-meter water slide, because we were in Cameroon for a visit, my family and I, and my uncle told me, turn around, we want to make a picture, while I was up on the ladder on 5 meters, and I turned and I slipped and I fell. And he caught me, but my head bumped on the floor, tongue, and split open. So as we were in the middle of the jungle, seriously, literally, I went to see a doctor, but there were no anesthetics. So I was stitched. As a 5-year-old girl, I had like 5 stitches here. And my mom, she held my feet and she said, if you're brave, you're going to get an ice cream. And that helped, because I never fought back. I thought, I realized consciously, if I fight back now, it's going to take longer, and it's going to take me longer to get the ice cream. So, I was literally, I could split my body. I can do that till today. I can split my body from the pain that happens. I can split my soul. I can watch myself while people cut on, because they had to do that. Again, you see here this huge scar on my arm. So that was a terrible accident when I was 17. So I can consciously do that. When I was run over by a car at the age of 6, I was like pushing my bike. We came from school, second day of school, and a car drove by and hit me, and I fell on my back, and I had the bike across my legs. And people that were watching it were saying that because the car drove on, it would have cut off my legs, or it would have squished my legs, because the bike was like a barrier pressing down on me. What I did, though, I was 6. I lifted the bike and I threw it to the side, and I turned on my back and I stretched my arms. So I was with my face down on the street, and my satchel was actually burned and clung to the engine, but my back was intact. So I was like, she still went on driving. That's why I have the scar here, but nothing happened to my bones or something. And then people picked me up from the street, and then they put me on the side, and I was laid on my back, and I looked into the sky, and then I left my body. So I was, it was a near-death experience, I guess that's how you call it. And I was like kind of flying above myself, looking down on myself while I was looking up and seeing the people like a dome bending over me. And so seeing that, and then watching a friend, and I asked her later, it happened. She left the group, she went to the traffic light, and she was pressing the traffic light and looking back and panicking. And then She ran to, it was a small town. She ran to the street. She got her mother. My mom was a teacher. She was at the school. She ran back, and then the ambulance came, and then they lifted me into the ambulance, and then I was back into my body. So I remember that till today. And those two incidents, first of all, splitting my consciousness from the fact that I have physical pain at a certain area, but it needs to be treated so that I get healthy. I can do that. And then second of all, I was consciously aware that I survived that incident, that accident. And that did something to me. It triggered resilience, obviously.
Yes.
I was happy. I could see that, oh my God, I literally, when I got back into my body and I opened my eyes, I was like, all right, I survived. So that's something that never left me till today.
That, I mean, such an incredible story. I've heard it before, but I've had goosebumps listening to you right now, and I was with you right there, right? At such a young age, there's so many questions. Okay, I gotta stay online here. At such a young age, first of all, did you have anyone taking you by the hand to process what had just happened, to digest all of those things, to consciously realize, right, I left my body, I almost died, but I'm back here, and I have this ability to split my body? And then you say you can consciously do that now. And that's actually something some people train for that, you know, when you go into deep meditation, into deep theta healing, this is what I mean, I've learned those things, leaving the body consciously to heal certain things and to numb the sensation of pain. You know, those people in India who stuck arrows and metal through their cheeks and through their tongue and like tie big stones to their penis, to, you know, this is the practices, what they do to, as you were saying, to split their body-mind connection and to actually putting their physical body into pain, but not experiencing in their mental body. This is very, very advanced meditation techniques at the end of the day, which you, looking back, first of all, do you perceive it as a gift? Because it is a form of a superhuman asset that you have, right? Taking yourself out of stressful situations. I mean, when you're able to do that, is there anything that can stress you? Do you still feel scared or stressed?
Of course, no. And the thing is, I can't numb the sensation. I can just endure it. That's a different approach. It's something completely different, I think. So it's, for me, I didn't have anyone to talk about that in particular. It's not like today where you take those kind of things seriously. You know, that's like almost 50 years back. So people are like saying, oh, okay, that happened to you. Yeah, right. So, you know, no. But yes, I can still do that I can kind of split, but it's not that I don't feel the pain. It's not that. I do feel the pain, but I can endure it. I can relax the rest of my body completely. I'm able to do that. You know, so it's something that I don't know. It's something that I personally can do. And I do it out of a survival instinct, because fighting back or like really realizing what's going on there on the arm or something that happened to me is much worse than relaxing for the moment and just let it happen and then it's over. So that is, I think, the technique that you're talking about, that is really high meditation stuff, and I will never get there. But I have a tool to make it able for me to endure these kind of situations. And if I'm stressed, then, as I said, I go running, I do yoga, and what I also do, I go into the forest and I hug trees. As I've been doing that for a very long time. I don't need it that often, thankfully, but then I take it seriously and I lay my hand against my head against the trees. I hug them. I breathe in, I breathe out. I take my own time, turn off my phone, and that really helps. It's like a connection to nature, to peacefulness. This is what I search for then.
Absolutely. And now for everyone listening who's like, oh my God, she's like an esoteric hippie hugging trees. Hold on there. Give me out here. You know, this is something, I mean, those hippies and yogis in the past, they knew what they've been doing. They might not have had the scientific proofs and machines to prove things like we have nowadays. But actually nowadays it is proven that it's called earthing. hugging a tree, it belongs to the practice of earthing. It's the same when you run barefoot through the mud or in the forest, do it barefoot. And what happens? You actually mingle your own electromagnetic field with the soil of the earth, with the electromagnetic field of a tree, which goes way down into the ground, and you change your own frequency. You change the electromagnetic field of your body, and the resonance of the tree mixes with yours. And this is why earthing is a very powerful grounding technique. Wow. Right? We just feel better, but actually something happens in your body which pays onto the account of your resilience as well.
So, I heard in Japan they see it as a sign that people go, it's called forest drinking or something. I think
forest bathing. Forest
bathing. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very powerful. And I want to give some service to our viewers and listeners. I see a guarded body on Aldwin's Instagram live. He's saying, great gig, Annabelle. Let's give some service to our listeners and viewers. And, there's so many people that are stressing out about so many things. People's nervous system nowadays, because we're bombarded with all this information, with all this social media, with all these negative news on television, which I stopped watching over 10 years ago, because it's just negative energy. But anyway, so many people are living from fear, and they're scared and they're stressed, and they're inwardly and sometimes outwardly freaking out about minor or major things. And changing what you do consciously and or unconsciously, changing your physique, your frequency, will make you much more resilient. You talk about even the joy of resilience. That's the title of your keynote that you share. So what is your service? How can you recommend somebody who feels stressed, overwhelmed, who is touched by even the smallest things? When our nervous system is sensitive, even the smallest things for some people become hard. What is your recommendation for somebody who has not undergone all of those experiences, who might be totally blank with their knowledge about that? How can they get to know the joy of resilience?
Well, I think it's, again, starting, like I said, about when you train your body, you should start with little steps. And I think it's the same, but I would go over food. I mean, it's very simple, because I think it's what you give into your body, it's going to give you back some kind of energy. A certain kind of energy. So if you stick to natural products and you leave out fat and sugars and too much salt and sweets and alcohol and nicotine and all that, it's doing something to you. It's doing something to your mental health as well. And that is something that you can control as well. So it's, I know that sometimes junk food is cheaper, but I'd rather go for a cheap, like a big broccoli and make a great soup out of it, instead of going for a hamburger that costs probably more. So I think there are ways for all of us to eat healthy, because I think that is the start of everything. It's like the energy that you put into your body is going to help you get through the day. And if you drink enough water and clean water, and you have hopefully enough food that you can control yourself, that means mostly not going too much to the restaurant, cooking on your own, having friends around you. Like, social connections are really important for your mental health. And if you have those two factors intact, then I think you can also deal with the stress. I think it's also about filtering. I think silence is extremely important. Turn off your phone, turn off the television, don't listen to music, just sit and let it be. Just enjoy the nature and the sounds, or the not sounds, that are around you, and just breathe. And I think that's really important, because we live in a time where the speed is so high. I mean, there's always something happening, and we are always triggered through noise and sounds, and, as you said, news and catastrophes and all that. And the only way that we can survive mentally is also to stay in a kind of healthy bubble, to groom that. And you can't change the big catastrophes in life. Climate change is something that's freaking out so many people, but you can do something for your own little bubble. You can become more aware about your food. You can become a vegetarian, or you eat just organic meat once a week or something. Those are little steps. So concentrate on the little steps that you are in control of, then you won't feel that much stress, because stress is due to factors that you're not in control of, that you can't control. That's why they're stressing you. So try to get more control about things that are right in front of your face. And these are your friends, social connections, your food, energy for your body, and your training, also energy for your body. That is something that you can control. I think you should go there.
Yeah.
I love that. And I just want to say on that too, you're doing a detox at the moment, you mentioned, with juicing. And is that actually like no food at the moment? Like what's your thoughts about sort of intermittent fasting or juicing? Like, yeah, are you eating at the moment, or are you, what's
yes
the
and no. Well, yes and no. The thing is, I think it also depends on how well your physique is at the moment. I wouldn't recommend to fasting for everyone. I think you need to be healthy and mentally stable to be able to fast. But generally, I think fasting is a good way to like push a reset button for your whole eating behavior, kind of. But for me, it means actually to flood my body with a lot of vitamins and minerals and everything. So I do the opposite. I don't chew on things so that my digestive system is calm and that I have more blood for my brain instead of my digestive system. But I do I have a juicer and everything at home. So I do fresh juices made of fennel and cucumber and spinach and coconut water and avocado, but also like grapefruit juice, fresh pressed and everything. So I have like a huge, like 1.5 liters per day, pure energy that I drink. And then I have water, a lot of water, because it's good for my skin and for my sleep and everything, for my digestive system, and herbal tea. And that's what I do. So I don't starve. I'm not hungry. I might have appetite to eat some pasta, but I'm just not going there. So that's what I do. And I think that everyone can do. Everyone has then enough ingredients and enough vitamins and minerals and everything that your body needs. Because I train also, I also take vegan protein powder. I also take that because I don't want to decrease my muscles. They're well developed and I want it to stay that way. But so the thing is that I start my day with a glass of water. I put apple vinegar in and I drink that, or lemon. Then I start with my first green juice. I do yoga or I train or something, or I do my jobs, whatever I have to do business-wise. And so I continue drinking this bottle of green juice that I prepared in the morning over the day. And in the evening, if I'm kind of hungry or feeling dizzy or something, it depends on your condition, I have a soup. But I don't put salt and all that in. I put herbs. And it's more about really having healthy ingredients throughout the day. And you need to be resistant against, of course, the smells of bakeries and pizzas and everything that is around you. But I think you're able to do it because you don't starve, and it's really yummy. I mean, it tastes really good. You have like a big glass of green juice, which has also pineapple and grapefruit and fennel and cucumber and apple and coconut water, and you put it in your blender, and it's just this huge, nice, green, yummy smoothie. And if you drink that, it just feels so good. So it's an overall program that gives you a good feeling about yourself again. So that's how I do it. There are several books about that topic. People should read.
I love that. Because
but that's how I do it.
Yeah. That's so cool, because a lot of people are eating just crap food, and so they just get hungrier and hungrier with all the fast food because they're not getting the proper vitamins in their body. So we actually don't need to really eat a lot, do we? And having juices is so much easier to absorb in the body. And I love that you hug trees, and it's actually, we were talking about grounding earlier, and it actually, when you do ground, it actually helps get rid of free radicals out of your body, which is extraordinary. There are things we don't actually see with our eyes, but you feel so good in nature. And one thing I love doing is getting into the ocean and walking on the beach. It's some of my favorite things to do. And I just feel when I get into the ocean, it's just like I'm rebirthed every time. It's absolutely extraordinary. And we've got it all there, right? It's all nature is all around us, and we've become so removed from all that. And I think when we're talking about resilience here, I think it's so important to get back to nature, to get back to these simple things, to do things, to nurture our soul and our body and our emotions and all those things, and to make time for us so that we can fill our own cup up, right?
And I think, as you said, I mean, to go back to nature, I think the most problems are for people that live in the big cities. I mean, it's not the people that live on the countryside. It's, I mean, on the countryside that are connected to nature, which is not automatically the fact, but, they have to have another access to nature, of course. And the cities, it's a different thing. There you have to search for it. But I think that's why you can always start with food and training, because that is the things that you are in control of, even if you live in a huge city. And then you should take your time, your me time, and go into a forest, like just do it. It's good for you. And but it's the problems that we have, being stressed out and stuff, it's about an overload of stuff that comes from the outside. And those are too many buildings around us. It's about too many sounds. Social media, I call it the anti-social media, actually, because it's, you disconnect with people while being on the phone all the time. So, it's a matter of common sense, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think this is something that gets taken away through social media, through excessive media consumption. I mean, we're all media women, so we provide the media, but I like how Alwyn always puts it, you can either be the media or consume the media, and you want to be deliberate with what type of media you consume. There's so much beautiful, joyful, educational stuff online, right? Or you can watch crap. I mean, you can watch horror movies and feel horrible afterwards and have a bad
I love horror movies. They relax me.
Really?
I mean, there's certain kind of horror movies.
I can't do it. Really, I can't do it. It freaks me out.
I love movies and I love horror movies. Seriously, my husband always says that you watch alone, and I love it. I love it in the afternoon to watch a horror movie to calm down.
So you train your resilience even more. Get through that right now. What I liked how you were pointing that a green smoothie can be yummy. It is fun to move your body, right? It does not have to be much more expensive to live healthy, because if you go to a fast food chain, I'm not going to name all of them. We all know what we're talking about when we have the burgers in mind, the two big evil ones, right? I mean, I do it once or twice per year because my daughter loves the colorful stuff, and you don't want to retreat her from everything, because then it can turn into the other excessive, way to overeat from it. But the point here is there is so many excuses that people create in their mind to not eat healthy. It's too expensive. It takes too much time. It doesn't. I can't move my body. I don't have the time. I'm not flexible enough. Wrong. I have in my books, I have created and shared routines that you can do while you're on the desk. It is just a decision. And this is something that I love that quote, you're always just one decision away from a healthier life. And this is what I think circles us back to resilience. It's a decision that you make. You can either have those horrible experiences and become scared and never go to a playground again, or never do sports again because you could get injured, or like in your case, especially go for it and still embrace life, right? And it's a decision. And that's something that so many people allow those excuses taken over in their life. And at the end of the day, there's so many books you can read. We don't have an education problem. We have an implementation problem. So many people know how to do it better, but they still don't. They still choose the crappy food. They still choose to keep their ass on the couch, right? And to not move. It's a choice that you take. And same is the choice to look amazing and be healthy in your 50s as a woman like you do, right? And it's a choice to go and grab life. I want to, because we're slowly closing the circle, and I want to address something else besides all of those amazing things that you do in regards of your body, in regards of your mind, of inspiring others with your knowledge and practice about resilience. You were mentioning that you were the first Black girl hosting a TV show in German television. And just recently you started a podcast. It's called in German Aktivkohle, which means in English is like active coal. I think you would say active charcoal, right? Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come to life? And tell us how you managed from being the first Black girl on television to being really influential and now hosting this podcast and being so active and really a voice for not only Black women, but Black people in media and in general. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was not the first Black girl on television. I was the first Black German presenter on television. There was one, I think, German actress that was before me. But yes, I am. Whoop, sorry. I am one of the first ones in Germany being Black, and also I'm very tall. I'm 5'11", so that the two parts, and a woman. So the thing is that first of all, I never gave up. I always believed that there is a reason why people also believe in me, and why I have so much fun doing what I do. So for me, there wasn't an option to leave that field of expertise or to leave that kind of business. Actually, acting took much longer, because in acting, it was that there were so many roles for refugees, prostitutes, or cleaning women, for Black women, that I said, no, I turned them down. So I financed my life being a presenter, because presenters were more supposed to look more international due to MTV. That's how it started, where I thought, actually, it makes sense to have like an exotic so-called face on television. So, but, I thought, okay, people are stupid if they think that's why I'm on TV. I'm on TV because I'm good at what I do. So I went from there, and especially through Black Lives Matter and due to the death of George Floyd, the conscience changed globally. We all know that. It was not only Black people going on the streets, but suddenly it was everyone roaming the street, demonstrating for Black Lives Matter, because they realized that it's imbalanced globally, how people were treated and how people were looked at and how they were seen also in the media, how they were positioned in the media. So that was healthy and very needed when that happened a couple of years ago. So that's also when I published my book. Detours are also ways, are also routes, because I was also talking about the resilience, and that even I take detours in my life. Actually, my aim is very straight. It takes a bit longer instead of going to university, but it's always I know what I want to do. I know where I am for, and I think due to that energy, other people also realized that, yeah, they can rely on me, and they also listen to me, maybe. So I was kind of a role model, so-called, for the younger people, for the next generation coming now, people that recognize me from TV, because they watched me doing Fit for Fun TV when they were like 10 years old or 8 years old or something. And I'm still there. So I'm very resilient just by being still in the media. That's very resilient, because other people said, no, I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm going to become a yoga teacher. I'm going to do other stuff, whatever. No, I'm still there, and I'm still continuing. But I realized also that due to the Black Lives Matter movement, and due to all the change that takes place in our society, like concerning language, concerning, how do we talk to each other? How do we approach each other? How do we ask questions? What kind of words shouldn't we say anymore, and why? And people became very conscious in a way that was good in a way, but also very depressing in a way, because you realize that there's so much fun lacking all of a sudden. And so what I try with Aktivkohle is it's not a new approach, but I think it's a very healthy approach, because Aktivkohle, that's why it chose that name, is actually a chemical substance that is used to clean water, and it's also against poisoning, and it's against digestion problems. And to be a Black person that is an activist is like Aktivkohle, because kohle is Black. So it's a bit, it's like a joke, and people realize that. But what I do in Aktivkohle, my podcast, I invite people from the Black German community to talk about their successes and not about their racist experiences, because we all have them. That's clear. But we should talk more about the positive energy that is taking place right now. how the communities evolve and how we empower ourselves and how good we are also for the rest of the German society. Because due to us, and of course, all the other diverse communities that are out there, Germany is what it is. It's like, it makes it as so interesting and so fun and so resilient due to the fact that it's a diverse society. So that's what I point out doing that podcast. And it's great fun because it's live with an audience, always in Berlin. I recorded live with an audience, and the audience is completely mixed. I mean, there are elderly white people, and there are the young white people, and there are Black people and Asians and everything. And so they realize that we are all in this together. And so that's why I came up with it. And that's why I also think, because of not being too radical, I am radical in my mind, sort of, because I think it's stupid if people don't realize that we are all equal. It makes me impatient that we still need to discuss that fact. Being different ethnicities or religions or genders, I mean, we are 51% of the population worldwide, us women, and there is still a pay gap, for instance. It's stupid. And this kind of things, of course, I'm impatient and it's getting on my nerves, but I try to give an approach that people like to listen, because you can only have a discussion, be it in your own relationship or out there, if the people want to listen to you. If you just punch them in the face, nothing is going to change. So, that's what I do. That's what I do with Aktivkohle. That's what I do with my other projects. And that's how I try to do things a little bit better for everyone.
Love that. Yeah. Love the approach. And you're so right. And I think this is a beautiful statement to sum up, right? You're right. And looking at things in the positive way, sharing your wins, sharing your successes. How did I overcome that? Rather than going into the victim mentality, right? Oh, poor me. I've been bullied when I was young. We all have in some ways, right? And I love how you say, with some people it's their background, with some people it's their skin color, with some people I hear it in my clients, just for being a girl, they've been bullied, they've been talked down, they've been told you're not worth as much as your brothers, you don't get paid as much as your brothers. Even high-ranking CEOs have that in them, right? There's so many aspects of being different, but what you did, grabbing the bulls by the horn and saying, it doesn't matter what happened to me, I got run over, I got run over, I'm still going to embrace life, I'm still going to go full on and do extreme sports, right? And I love that positive approach. And I think that this is something that no matter who's listening, if a man or a woman, and what their background is, which country they're listening from, being different per se is nothing negative. And this can, this can sum up everything. It doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, we're all divine souls having a human experience.
No, absolutely. I mean, there are people that have, you say, of course, your clients have kind of experiences. We still need to understand that, the history of Black people is a completely different history. I mean, that's worse, especially if you're like a Black woman, if you're dark skinned. I'm light skinned. I used to work as a model. I'm even I'm on the catwalk tonight. So it's like, it also has to do with looks sometimes. But if you're a dark skinned, small woman, short woman, I mean, this is hell. It can be hell. So I'm just to make that clear. But I think, as you said, it doesn't matter what gender, it doesn't matter where you come from. I think if you give in to what the negative things that happen to you, you might end up being cynical. And being cynical, I think, is the worst price, because it's the price that you only pay. You're the only one that pays it. People don't care. It's like, if you don't take care of yourself and your soul, I'm so sorry, but it's the reminder that I have to go for makeup for the show. I think that no matter what happened to you, you need to take care of yourself, and you need at least to try not to become cynical and not to lose your sense of humor. Because if you survive everything, but you lost your sense of humor, it's no fun. I mean, what can you do with it? It's like you're a serious survivor, but it's not enough. I think so. That's really important that you keep in mind. Becoming cynical is the worst price. You can become ironic, of course. You can of course, remember what happened to you. You can work with it. You can come out stronger, hopefully, and take it seriously. You need to take responsibility what happened to you, because it always takes two to tango. All of that, yes, but please don't become cynical. Keep your sense of humor and be a happy child and be a happy inner child, because I think that is really, really important.
Fantastic. I'm loving this conversation. I have a question around, you've appeared on stage and or interviewed some phenomenal people like Morgan Freeman, John Travolta, Liam Neeson, Keanu Reeves, extraordinary lineup there. My question is around, what have you noticed around resilience with the celebrities you've met, and what has the journey been like in the media as a female in the media, which we know that, you know, as you get older in the media, generally for females, they tend to get put aside. So what is that? What has that journey been like for you?
Well, actually, I'm very happy that I was with Morgan Freeman on stage, and I will be on stage with him next month again. So that's really nice, and he's a great guy. And him, and also another what's her face, another famous female actress that is very tall that I work with. They both told me that there's always a market for you. You know, you just need to find it. There's always a niche that you belong, and it's you know, just that just if you're not like the others around you doesn't mean that you, as you said, Kerstin, that you're wrong. But you belong somewhere, and there are films for you. There are stories to tell for you. So that is something that I think each and everyone needs to keep in mind. For me, growing older, being 53, as I said, of course, it comes with the question, how long am I going to go on the media? But as I took care of my body all the time, and as I eat healthy food, I know that I look like 35. So I can also play these roles. So actually, my career started at the age of 48, you know, very late. Same as Morgan Freeman, whose career actually also started with when he played Miss Daisy's chauffeur. He was in his 40s or something. And he had other roles before it, just like me, but that was a breakthrough that he had. So for me, so he's the only role model that I have, actually, is Morgan Freeman. So the happy I am that I'm on stage with him again in August. Anyway, so the thing is that when I was discovered sort of for Berlin Alexanderplatz, was a big cinema movie in Germany, and it won a lot of prizes and stuff, I was 48. And I had actually given up. I was like, not giving up in the sense of being negative about it, but just being realistic about it, that I probably am not going to, you know, act anymore or have the roles that I really want to play. And but then Alexanderplatz came, and then Vikings Valhalla came, where I played a warrior, where I played the head of the Shield Maidens. Was a Netflix series. And then from then on, now my career is picking up. And so I play in international and national movies and series. And now My Lady Jane just aired on Amazon Prime, where I play like a fighting nun. It's a really fun role. So I do my own action scenes. I do my own stunts. It's due to my training. It's due to my discipline. And it's something that I embrace, of course, and I respect it, that there are dozens of hundreds and thousands probably of other actresses that could play my part. But still, I also know that I'm special in a way. You know, I'm me. And so there is a niche out there for me. And if I have people around me that believe in me, like my management does, like my acting agencies do, then yes, I'm going to continue. And I think, but I still, you know, try to have an open ear for open mind for other things. That's why I did the Aktivkohle podcast. That's why I'm also working on another project that's going to probably launch next year. And so I'm not relying only on one business, but I'm always, like Kerstin, like you do, also always, you know, spreading my wings and looking around what else is going on.
You want to put the chair on 4 legs, like we always say. If you put your chair on 4 legs, even if one breaks, it's still going to stand on 3, right? True. And beautiful, beautiful. We got the clock in mind. You are featuring a runway as a model of 53. I love that. It's Berlin Fashion Week at the moment. I might see you tomorrow. I'm going to join some events tomorrow today no time, so we don't want to keep you here for too long. You need to go into the makeup room. We could go on forever. I still have a few questions parked in my head, so we might want to invite you again in the future.
Yes, please.
I thank you so much for having, been our guest. It's been a beautiful conversation. I think it's been highly inspiring for all your viewers and listeners. Alwyn, let's share all the links where people can connect with Annabelle. And Annabelle, you tell us all the projects that are coming up that you still want to share with our viewers and listeners.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope that those that speak German, that they will, how do you say, abonnieren?
Subscribe.
That they will subscribe for Aktivkohle, my podcast. It's on all platforms. And well, what's coming up is, as I said, Morgan Freeman and I am going to be on stage end of August. I'm going to open the International AIDS Conference in Munich. But in 2 weeks, I'm going to fly to Vienna on Sunday to shoot some more for Beasts, a series, the second season. I've been a part of the main cast for the past 2 years. And then Exterritorial's coming up. That's a Netflix thriller. It was supposed to air in fall, but it's going to be spring next year. Unfortunately, they're next to Dougray Scott, who's a superstar who played in James Bond and Mission Impossible and everything. And with Jeanne Gorceau being the main actress. And so it's, there's a lot going on. I'm happy that I have great business going on as a presenter, as an actress, and also as a podcaster. And then my first solo exhibition as a painter is coming up. This is one of my abstract paintings.
Yeah, show us the painting in the background. It looks like this psychedelic halo that you have over you. I love it.
3 meters times 2 meters. So it's huge. But I'm not doing abstract at the moment. I'm doing Black women. I'm doing Black female pioneers that I'm portraying. And for that, I'm part of a group exhibition right now in Berlin, but I'm also having my own solo show in March next year. So it's actually me being an artist, like about expressing things. That's what I do for a living. And that's what's happening in the near future and in the far future as well.
And you're inspiring others, as you have been in the past hour here, and all of those things. So everyone who wants to see these movies and series that you're starring in, all of those are featured on your website, right? Which is annabellemandeng.com.
Yeah.
Yes, because I want to see that fighting nun. You got me there.
Yes. So just 2 days ago. It's really funny. It's really
amazing. Do you share where all of those movies and series are streaming on your website? Can I find the right link?
I share it on the website, yes, and also my Instagram profile. And
Great.
You can find
Love it.
And have you got a quote you'd like to share with us today, Annabelle?
Yes. Giving up is not an option.
Love it.
That's my life attitude.
Love that. And I hope all our listeners and viewers write that down, get it tattooed on their forehead.
In their mind is okay.
In your mind, that's what I meant. Write it on your mirror with lipstick or whatever. And yes, giving up is not an option, but giving into this beautiful life and enjoying the ride and ride the waves. I want to add that as my download quote that I just came up with.
It's beautiful. Love that.
Okay. Ladies, I gotta go. I gotta to get my hair made for the show.
Thanks a lot. It was lovely having you.
Thank you for joining us, Annabelle. We'll just stay on a little bit longer and wrap up. So have a great night. Enjoy the catwalk.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
See you. Oh, she was amazing. Annabelle Mandeng. What an amazing lady. Wow.
Yes. I mean, what a life, right? And I love how, as I said, I've been around her for 20 years. That we met when we were quite young, quite freshies in the business. And I've heard about all of her incidents and accidents in depth, and I saw the tattoos she got on her back when she's got those big angel wings on her back, covering her scars, and it's amazing. I mean, it's really admirable, I think, when not only as a woman but as a human being you overcome those obstacles and traumas and you come out stronger. And I think people like her are a living proof, really, that no matter what you get given in life, I love that saying. It might sound cheesy, but when you get given lemons, you can make lemonade from it. And people like her are a radiant example for that, that there's nothing horrible enough to stop you from creating an amazing life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she looks amazing for 53. And there's a great saying there that eat less to live longer. And as she was sharing that she pretty much lives on juices, I thought, oh my gosh, no wonder she looks so fit and amazing, and those muscles, my goodness. So she is a great example of someone who can look 20 years younger by looking after themselves and
Yes.
have an extraordinary life and have a lot of fun at the same time after
Yeah.
having all that trauma.
And still enjoying. I mean, when you see her, she's talking about how she also has a pasta and a wine. And I mean, her and I, we've been partying, we've been rocking the dance floor,
Right.
back in the days when I was, I was still going out more, and we've had champagne together. So she's absolutely, it's not, some people always think, I can't have fun anymore and I can't indulge anymore. You can, but it's all about creating the balance, and it's not only about adding or becoming restrictive, but leaving away certain things. And this can become a habit as well. And once you've gotten used to it, like she with her fasting, and leaving away certain other things, being conscious about what you put in your mind, it can become second nature, and then it's not as hard anymore.
I was thinking as she was sharing, she's like a cat with 9 lives, she just she just keeps bouncing back, and it's extraordinary.
Absolutely. Yeah, I loved it. I'm actually also on my way. You spend day with my daughter. I've got my daughter at home today, my little one. And that's also something that's, when you're resilient, you pass it on to your children. For all the mamas and daddies listening to us, you are a living example to your children. It's actually said that the 5 people that you spend the most time around, they are the ones that rub off on you. And as parents, when we give a positive example to our children, we can enable them to be more resilient, and the little ones, they've got some challenges to face as well. So it's a nice example to give to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you also help people with this. So for those who want to maybe work with you, Kirsten, how can they do that?
They can absolutely come to my website. It's bebettercoaching.org. I have created a special website there with all the links. I have a free Facebook group. It's called the Power of a Woman Collective, where I share different tools of becoming more resilient, of how to come overload and how to organize your life better, how to be physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. So you can go to bebettercoaching.org/links, and there you will find all the ways to get in touch with me, learn more about my work, and so on and so forth.
Beautiful. And for those who want to connect with me, you can go to linktree/Aldwin. That's linktr.ee/Aldwin. I have a free webinar coming up in 2 days, and it's going to be around this time, 3 hours earlier. And it's called How to Build a Global Brand. So I invite you to hop along there. We also have the Global Good News Challenge every month, sharing gratitude and good news and spreading some more positive vibes out there. And you can find all the details on the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. And I have a mass media mastery program too, where I work closely with people to get their message out to the masses. So reach out and connect if you would like any support with that. And I want to thank all of our amazing people who've joined us live today. We've had Jake Silverstein and John Lazaro on Instagram. We've got Holy Basil Music. We've got Joel Anampum, Guarded Body, says, good on you, mate. I'm glad to see Australian media also retaining their newsreaders and hosts, regardless of age, as it should be. Yes, thank you, Guarded Body. Great gig, he said earlier, Annabelle. We've got Michael Spongi here. We've got Ash Klanger, servant of 4005. He says hi. And he's from Pakistan, servant 4005, Osis, and we've got Mehra Yoga, one of our beautiful previous guests joined us there. And for those on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on X, on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know what you've got out of this conversation today. We'd love to hear from you. Share the love as well. And I do want to leave a quote with you today as well, which is a Martin Luther King Jr. quote. And it's, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. I love that.
Yes, I love it. Love it so much. Yes, that's a really, really good one. Just don't stop. Even baby steps will get you closer to your goal. Love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, my wonderful soul. It was a pleasure spending time with you again. Thank you again to Annabelle, who's getting ready for the catwalk right now. Thank you to all our beautiful listeners and viewers. Share the show. Send the link to somebody who you know who might be happy about some more health and wealth and wisdom in their life. We thank you for bringing this show more forward, and we're looking forward to next month, where we're coming again into your living room and onto your ears and eyes with another amazing guest.
Yes, looking forward to that. So our season 2 of Media Mavens Show is going to be the first Tuesday of every month around this time, okay, wherever you are in the world. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Kirsten. Have a beautiful day with your gorgeous angel there. And we'll see you then. Look forward to it. Thank you so much. See you then. See you later.
Bye.